video, we are going to create a web application and continuous deployment chain using GitHub source control, Travis CI build, and Heroku. Let's start off by creating an empty repository on GitHub. GitHub provides some helpful instructions for getting started, which you can see here. We'll copy the repository URL to save time typing it in later. Next, following the instructions provided by GitHub, we create a new local repository. This repository will contain a bare-bones README file. We will also associate our local repository with the remote repository on GitHub, and we'll push our content to the remote. Do you see where we pasted the repository URL? Typing that would have been a pain. Now we can see our files on the remote. With version control set up, let's create our app. We'll use the Express application generator to get started. There are prerequisites. You'll need Node and NPM, and of course you'll need Express. Following the instructions on the generator page, there on the left, we instruct Express to create a new site using EJS templating. We use the force option because we've got files in our directory, and we use the git option to create a gitignore file. The next steps are on the generator page, and they're also shown here on the terminal. I'm doing this in a Windows VM, so therefore we need special command syntax to run the app. This is spelled out on the generator page. Okay, now we're about to see that our app is running. We see the home route working and the user's route. We see that the generator scaffolded the app with some boilerplate code and a reasonable folder structure. What's missing are automated tests. Let's fill this gap by installing some dependencies to support our testing. Chai assertions, Chai promise support, and we'll also add Chai HTTP for HTTP integration testing. We'll also install Mocha, the test framework. When we refresh, we'll see all the dependencies in our package.json file. Now let's write a test. Here's one that is going to perform an HTTP GET on their user's route and expect a 201 status code. Yes, we've written this to fail. A correct status is a 200. We add the script to the package.json file so that we and Travis build can run the test. When we run it, we see the expected failure. TDD would dictate that we write the test before adding the implementation, but our use of the generator prevented that. Let's turn our attention to the continuous deployment chain. We've installed the Travis CLI and the Heroku CLI, which are both required, as you'll soon see. Travis and Heroku sites provide good install instructions. We now add the Travis build to our deployment chain. Log in with your GitHub credentials, navigate to your accounts, and you'll come to a page listing your GitHub repos. We will select our repository, which, with the next push, will trigger a first build. First, we need to prepare Heroku to receive our source code. After logging into the CLI, with some difficulty as you can see, thank God for Stack Overflow, we issue the create command. Then we log into Heroku, and we will see our placeholder app. This will be populated with the real thing following a successful Travis build. Speaking of Travis build, we need to add a Travis YAML file to tell Travis how to build our app. Here's a bare bones one for Node.js, which we created based on the documentation available on the Travis site. Next, we connect Travis to Heroku using the documentation available on the Travis site. We're interested in this line right here. So log into the Travis CLI, which I had to do through the command prompt, not bash. Thanks again for the help, Stack Overflow. We copy, paste, and execute the line of interest to provide Travis secure deploy access to Heroku. Refresh the Travis YAML file and see the changes made by the CLI. This all looks good, but something is missing. The provider value. We'll go ahead and add that now. Okay, we're ready to commit and push our changes. First, we'll want to gitignore the files in the .vs folder. This is the kind of thing you don't want under version control. With that out of the way, we commit and push our changes, which include a failing test and build and deployment instructions. Taking a look at Travis, we see our commit triggered a build, which failed, as expected, because of the incorrect status code. Travis is a gate, so at this point, none of this faulty code has been deployed to Heroku. We do want to successfully deploy though, so let's fix the test and do the usual commit and push. Changing it to a 200. This time, the build triggered by the change to our code in GitHub is going to pass. Hooray! When we return to Heroku, we see that our app has now been successfully deployed via our continuous deployment chain. There's the root and the user's route. Okay, everything is working great, but something is missing. We want one of these nifty little Travis badges to indicate the status of our build. Let's return to Travis, and we will copy the markdown needed to badge our master branch. Here we go, we just copy it straight out of there, and we're going to run over to our README. Have to get some files out of the way first. Now let's just go ahead and paste it right in the top. Save it, and we do our usual commit and push. After a moment, we will see that our build, triggered by this change, is passing with a nice badge to indicate it. There it is. Well done.